I would bring that back to our emotional health. When you cry or when you are emotionally available, you are allowing others to do it as well. And that's a huge gift to pass on. And especially for big strapping men like you, like it's even more powerful coming from you because men have been so suppressed throughout history with their emotions. That's why the rates of suicide in men are higher than women. Because you have to deal with all these societal rules that say you're not allowed to cry. That's weakness. When I got with my husband, his mother told him not to cry in front of me because it would scare me away. And pretty early on, we got in a fight and he cried. And he said, I'm not supposed to be crying in front of you. This is what my mom said. And I said, that's one of my favorite things about you. Like, it's not weak. Please know that from a woman's mouth. We do not see that as weak. We see that as powerful and exciting and safety and all the good things. So I hope that men really please be beacons of hope for these men. Please be emotionally free with yourselves. And it's just such a loving, generous thing to walk around with.
Yeah. Well,
why did I say that? What were you talking about right before that?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm so captivated by what you just said that I actually forgot. But I mean, that has been
like pushing boundaries and having the courage to go for it.
Yeah. But it's and then
that's physical stuff as well as emotional stuff.
That's where you correlate it to,
stuff.
Is the emotional part of it. And that's exactly what you're saying for me is I've had these conversations with other male actor friends of mine, and the reason I want one, it's obviously since a young age fell in love with film and I grew up with the TV and I tried all these different things that I've always been gravitating towards it my entire life, and then finally I committed to go do it. But for me, I look at it as like I'm a big guy. Mm-hmm. Physically, I'm a large guy, and I'm masculine, and I know what I want, and I know what I'm going to go do to go get it. And there's this element of we grew up in the 90s and 80s and 70s and watching all of these action heroes that were just these big tough guys.
Right.
None of them were talking really about their emotions, their feelings, anything. Exactly what you're saying with these high suicide rates, and I've dealt with that, since an early age, and I got to the point where I was like, I don't know where this life is going to take me. I don't know if my career is going to go where I want it to. I'm going to give everything I got, and I'm going to try everything, and I'm going to put myself out there. I'm never going to quit. And hopefully, God willing, it takes me where I'm supposed to go. But at the end of the day, if I have this vessel, this shell, right, that embodies, let's say, a masculine guy, and then I'm also vulnerable. I take what these guys did in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and then I add in a layer of it's okay to be vulnerable. Mm-hmm. To what you're saying, it is actually more, in my opinion, a stronger trait in a male. It's a more
superpower.
Exactly. It's more masculine than the latter.
That's right.
And if you're able to do that, then it gives other men permission to do the same, and then we start to heal.
Exactly.
And that's where I'm like, I don't know where my career is going to go, but I feel called. We're talking about our callings, right? And that tapping, poking, punching. Eventually, I'm going to get knocked out if I don't go do it. But for me, it is that. Yeah. It's because I know what it's like. I grew up with a single mother and a bunch of sisters, and I grew up around these women all the time those were the strong ones to me. Those are the ones that taught me everything I knew about being a man, funny enough. And then also how to be vulnerable, how to communicate, how to, not shove everything down. And it's scary to do that. I don't like talking about my feelings all the time,
Of course not. It's not comfortable for anyone.
Exactly. But if you get to the point where you're so confident in living in your truth that you show up and I'm okay if somebody knows a deep, dark secret about me. Like, you don't need to know everything, right? But the things we do talk about, if I'm vulnerable about that, and then that gives you permission and you get to heal that part. Like, I've had conversations with so many men over the years that they're like, I've never told this to anybody. And I can't even explain to you how much this has helped me.
Right.
And it's just that one little conversation, that one little act of me being vulnerable, allowing them. And I'm okay with that.
That's right. And I think people confuse vulnerability with telling someone your life story.
Yeah.
And that's not what it means. It means showing up and taking the risk of sharing something personal and not knowing how the other person's going to respond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could take what you just said and stomp on it and kill it and make fun of you. That's the risk you take.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that because I can stand confidently as a man.
That's what vulnerability is.
Yeah. And I think it's so important what you're saying for men to hear that from a woman's perspective of like, no, that is more powerful. They need to hear that.
That's what we want in a man.
Yeah.
That's what women want. What about
Start
you?
Crying,
Do you
boys.
I mean,
have anything to say on that?
I had an experience. There's a Lyft driver who kind of is in this area, and he's driven us to a premiere. He's kind of, he's driven us a few times. Great guy, super nice. And he drove me the other day, and basically at the very end of the ride, I mentioned the podcast and how we were kind of talking about, kind of similar topic, men and feelings, all that. And it's okay. And he goes, yeah, I broke up with my girlfriend, or she broke up with me, and I've been depressed for a month. And I literally sat outside talking to him for like 20 minutes at the end of the ride.
Yeah.
And literally he goes, I'm gonna go check out the podcast and listen more. But honestly, like, thank you so freaking much.
Wow.
And it's like, I never would have known that. He was actually very nice and energetic and positive. But then one little question, and that's just a random day within a week,
Yeah.
But I agree. It's like, he never would have said anything regardless, but if we didn't actually get into it.
That's right.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting topic for sure. I definitely think how, what would the letters be like if they didn't include his emotional state and what he was feeling, right? And expressing how much he loves Wanda and how much he misses her and how much he wants to get home. Because that literally, he admits that's what keeps him going and like able to fight in the war and able to keep going is the thought of their love. And if you're not emotionally available, then you're not going to write about it. Right. So
that's right. That's why so many men, when they were leaving for war, asked a woman, even if they weren't dating yet, can I write to you?
Yeah.
Because it's life-saving.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, you're right. There's no other point for him to have written letters except for emotion.
Yeah.
That's what keeps people going. That human connection. That's what we all need. And I would pose like a challenge to everyone, especially in this city of Hollywood. I challenge you to have a conversation and ask the other person questions. I cannot tell you how many conversations I have where the other person doesn't ask me a single question, and it is so confusing and disgusting. I don't understand that. We are trained because of technology and social media to talk at each other about ourselves. Yeah. And we think that that's a conversation. Don't come near me with it.
Yeah.
We are harming ourselves by doing that. And it's not okay.
Yeah.
I really have a problem with it. So I want to put that challenge out there. Let's see if our conversations change, huh?
Yeah.
I love it. I completely agree. Because
if you hadn't asked that guy, you never would have unraveled that beautiful world that's inside of him and changed his life that day.
Yeah, just have those
and that's just one little thing.
Yeah.
So,
I know, I agree. In LA especially, I think we gotta do that a little bit more.
Absolutely. If we've lost the art of the handwritten letter completely, at least we can still be interested in each other. Is that too much to ask?
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoyed the video.
And subscribe and hit the bell for a whole lot more to come.